This video is meant as part 2 of a presentation I started last week on audio. If you want to see the beginning of the presentation or hear it on audio, you can go to the Beth Jacob website on the home page, and there'll be an opportunity for you to click and hear a 7 or 8 minute introduction to what we're doing here in this video. If you don't listen to that, you can still appreciate this video. You know, Hanukkah is coming, and Hanukkah always presents a major dilemma, which is you come, you light the menorah, perhaps you come to Minyan in the morning, and you also say Hallel as part of Shacharis each day. But it's so hard to really feel like you're religiously celebrating Hanukkah. There are many social aspects of Hanukkah that are fun and nice. The gift giving, the latke eating, the dreidel playing, the families getting together. All that's wonderful and very positive. But Hanukkah is a religious holiday, and there's sometimes a feeling that we can't get through the Yom Tov in a positive way, in a way that helps us take something with it. So the goal here is to try to develop a consciousness and to try to, in a more focused way, be able to give ourselves over to the Yom Tov of Hanukkah and be able to feel like we are actually serving God through observing Hanukkah, and actually leaving Hanukkah strengthened in our ability to continue to serve Him. And so we're looking at the 6 remembrances, which happen to appear in the Art Scroll Seder on page 176 if you want to follow along or reference them or in discussion afterwards with family. Page 176, and there are 6 mitzvahs that we're supposed to always have in our mind. Not 6 constant mitzvahs, but 6 things we're supposed to remember, 6 items. And we reviewed them last week, and the goal is to see how those 6 form the consciousness of the Jew, so that when the challenge of Hanukkah came along, given that Jewish people who were loyal and absorbed by our tradition had these things in their mind, they were able to respond properly, and thus the miracles of Hanukkah happened. And so we're looking at those things to see how we could also have that consciousness, that general attitude towards life that would cause Hanukkah, that would have us actually relate to Hanukkah that way. So we're going to look at the first 3. The first 3 are the Exodus from Egypt, the Revelation, the giving of the Torah at Mount Sinai, and remembering Amalek, what Amalek did to us on the way out of Egypt. And the first one, the Exodus from Egypt, that really indicates that the Jewish people is conceived in miracles, and we are born for a mission. And the point of all that is that the Jewish people actually has a purpose, and it's God-given. And the idea is that the Jewish people actually responds to a sense of mission. We're here for something. We're not here just to exist or to survive. We're actually here to represent something. What that something is happens to be what Revelation is all about. God speaks to people. God communicates His message to people. The idea is that He actually wants us to bring a message to the world. And therefore, we're actually deputized by God to actually represent something. And when that message is challenged, we stand up for that message. And finally, Amalek and its message is that when you stand up for God, when you represent God, there is automatically going to be opposition. There's going to be some force that's going to be stimulated by your standing up for the fact that there is a God in the world. That's what Amalek represents. So we expect to find opposition. And we expect through that opposition to sharpen our own skills in devotion to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. This is what created the miracle of Hanukkah. It was just intolerable to people who knew that they were conceived miraculously to stand by while Jews absorbed Hellenism and forfeited their own mission in the world. And so whether they had it figured out or not, and whether it was reasonable or not, they went and took on the Greeks, and they waged a war, and they were miraculous in their success, but only because they knew it had to be done. This is what we're all about. And they stood for the message of the Torah. They stood for the fact that God actually has a message. And they understood there are always going to be forces that stand in opposition to the Jewish people. That's just the way it's going to be, and it's our responsibility to take them on. Now, in our lives, we have to ask ourselves, where in our lives do we discount the possibility of miracles? Where do we make decisions and deal with challenges purely on the basis of how reasonable it is for us to succeed, rather than counting on the fact that if we embrace the fact that we are Jews and we have a mission from God, that God actually will help us, even in our personal lives? And where in our lives do we go about our religious obligations simply as responsibilities or rituals without realizing these are messages from God? When we're performing mitzvahs, when we're keeping Shabbos, when we're doing acts of tzedakah or chesed, what we're doing is actually fulfilling a direct communication from God to human beings, and we're actually personifying that. And where in our lives do we give up in the face of opposition? Do we feel like it's hopeless? Do we feel like the world won't get it? Do we feel like our friends won't get it? And where are we ready to stand up and represent the message of God even in the face of opposition? These are parts of the consciousness of a Jew that leads to a successful Hanukkah. And if we start incorporating these things in our lives, then Hanukkah actually strengthens that and gives us the opportunity to come closer to God through its celebration. Good Shabbos.